Production funding for Flying Squirrels Insider is made possible in part by Virginia College Savings Plan. Save for tomorrow's higher education expenses with Virginia 529's 4 flexible tax-advantaged college savings plans. Details at virginia529.com. And by the Greater Richmond Chamber Save Low Fares campaign. Richmond is in danger of becoming one of America's most expensive airports again. Flying AirTran, Southwest, and JetBlue supports airline competition. Details at savelowfares.com. And by Haley Buick GMC, located at 9811 Midlothian Turnpike, offering new and pre-owned vehicles, financing options, service, parts, and accessories. HaleyBuickGMC.com, taking it to the streets.
Laying out with a headlong dive. Did he make that catch? It's Lawless. And Lawless with a miraculous catch. Duran kicks and fires. Swing and a miss. He struck him on with a changeup. And the Squirrels are the champs in the West. Welcome to another edition of Flying Squirrels Insider. In for Anthony Opperman, I am Jon Laaser, as Anthony has hit the All-Star break along with the Flying Squirrels. But not to worry, we've got Haley Buick GMC and this beautiful Buick Lacrosse here in studio, as well as Flying Squirrels beat writer from the Richmond Times-Dispatch, John O'Connor. John is here to help us break down a Flying Squirrels surge towards the second half, the All-Star contingent representing the River City up in Baseball Town at the All-Star Classic. Plus, we've got an ace struggling, and we've got a #1 prospect surging. The Giants also have big news, and we're going to go in-depth and behind the scenes with the Flying Squirrels bullpen. You thought you knew what went on during games down with the relief pitchers. You did not. We're going to expose that today. Plus, we bring Flying Squirrels insider producer Craig Keaton out from behind the curtain, and we show you how this show gets made. It's all ahead on a big edition of Flying Squirrels Insider. And remember, throughout the show today, text FSI to 44544, and you may go home with Flying Squirrel stuff.
San Francisco Giants have been working with Lou DiBella, the owner of the Flying Squirrels, going back to '03 when we were in Norwich, Connecticut. And when he put together the management team that he has here in Richmond, relocated us to a fan base that supports the club, gives us a chance to develop players, continue to develop players in the Eastern League, which we think is an outstanding development league for our players. It was really it was an easy choice for us. We want to be here as long as we can.
Oh, I can tell the difference.
There really wasn't a whole lot of discussion. Domino called me and said, start getting everything together paperwork-wise. They're all not only people we work with, but they're very close friends of ours. It's like a family. So it was a great decision. I'm glad that Lou made the decision that he made. I'm glad the Giants want to be here, and hopefully we can work with them for a long time.
It's a big deal to be able to go to the Eastern League All-Star game for the first time. I mean, I haven't been in an All-Star game before, and the biggest thing is to get to go with some of my teammates and get to enjoy it with them, and it'll be a good time. We have some guys coming in, some guys leaving, but as a core, some of the leaders, some of the older guys really stuck with the younger guys, you know, letting them know that it's a long season, it's a grind. There isn't two halves like the Cal League, so you can play bad in the beginning and you can really get hot at the end and still make a run for it.
Flying Squirrels insider off and running without Anthony Opperman. We replaced him pretty easily. I know Anthony doesn't want to hear that. Neither does our guest, but we say it anyway. A guy who knows baseball in the River City just about as well as anybody, Flying Squirrels beat writer Jon O'Connor joins us from the Richmond Times-Dispatch. And first of all, Jon, thanks so much for being here, particularly on short notice. I knew you were the source to come to. Glad you could make it here today. And you come regarding big news. San Francisco Giants and the Richmond Flying Squirrels making a big announcement at the Diamond. They just did that a couple of days ago. Another 2-year extension of the player development contract known as the PDC. That means the Flying Squirrels roster will be made up of San Francisco Giants farmhands the next couple of years, along with the rest of this year. That's big news. Is it good news?
I think it is good news for fans in the area, John, because San Francisco has sent us good product here in the last 2.5 years. I think we've had 10 or 11 guys who went on to the big leagues and winning teams for the most part. Fans seem to have meshed with the organization and are following the organization. I never thought it would really get to this, San Francisco being so far away. I wasn't sure what sort of relationship could be formed with Richmond, but I think it's worked out very well, and I think everybody who is a Squirrels fan welcomes an extension. I think it's a good thing. They understand the Giants, they appreciate the Giants, they're learning more about the Giants. Good thing.
You hit on it. I think there were some skeptics here in the River City when the Flying Squirrels first came and said, what's going on with San Francisco? Right. It's got to only be a matter of time until we get the Washington Nationals. Chuck Domino, Todd Parnell, Lou DiBella have said, no, we have loyalty with the San Francisco Giants. And in your opinion, have the Flying Squirrels proven that this partnership can be one that thrives?
I think it can thrive, and part of that reason is San Francisco's success at the big league level. You're connected with a winner. You're connected with what's viewed as a progressive team, a very successful team and a successful organization with people who know what they're doing. Therefore, I think the Richmond people believe that they're in good hands and they will not be shorted, so to speak, in the talent department. We'll get plenty and we'll win, and that makes it more fun on the boulevard.
Well, let's get back on the field where those Giants will be representing Richmond over the next couple of seasons. They've represented them quite well this year as well. Flying Squirrels, like the rest of the Eastern League, have hit the All-Star season. They're actually on the road right as we tape this up to the Baseball Town All-Star Classic. Giants send 4. Give me your quick thoughts on all 4 of those guys.
Brett Bochy, reliever who jumped from low A Augusta to double A this year, and in April there was a lot of people wondering if he belonged here and what role he would fill. He's really morphed into that closer role as well as anybody on this team. He's not going to blow you away with any overpowering stuff. Smart pitcher, studies hitters, knows what he's doing out there, takes care of business by keeping the ball in the strike zone. Impressive and a lot of upside. I think he's 24, 25, and I think he can keep rising because he takes care of business with the strike zone. He doesn't walk people. That's what you need in a reliever. Chris Heston, 24-year-old right-handed starter, expected to start in the All-Star game for Dave McAmer's team, the Western Division All-Stars. 2 years ago, picked up a sinker, which he throws a little bit like a fastball with a different grip. It's really changed his career. He was struggling like crazy a couple of years ago in pro ball, and since has really come on because of that sinker. He is going through what Dave McAmer referred to as a dead arm period now. Maybe a little tired. Maybe needs a couple of days off. Maybe he needs a start or 2 away. I think he'll be back. He's shown great in the first half of the season, much better than people would have expected. Catcher Tommy Joseph, 20 years old, handles himself like a 25-year-old guy or older. Very polished.
Not like I was when I was 25.
He is very impressive for a 20-year-old kid. I almost want to check his birth certificate. Power to the opposite field, to right center, power down the left field line, getting better as a catcher. That's always what you heard about Tommy Joseph when he was coming through the minors, steadily improving. I think we've seen some of that. He's thrown out a lot of base runners. He's done very well this year behind the plate, sitting around 250, 260, and really the punch in the middle of the Squirrels lineup. Third baseman Daniel Maiora, soon to be 27, on the 27th of this month, a 4th All-Star team in Double-A level in 4 years. An incredible tribute to consistency as an offensive player. You wonder if he can ever elevate past this level and really catch on either at AAA or the big leagues. I don't know. He's got some defensive shortcomings, and he doesn't hit a lot of home runs. He's got 1 home run this year and maybe 47, I think, in 8 years. So there are some glitches there as far as being a third base prospect, but he can sure hit and he can sure drive in runs. So he's been on all-star teams in Tulsa twice, Montgomery, and Richmond. I don't know how many guys can say they've been in all-star games in all 3 AAA leagues. He has.
I have 2 of them. I was an all-star in Montgomery, and as we know, I'm an all-star here in Richmond, in my own mind at least. You touched on it right there, John. Chris Heston, over his first his first 13 starts of the season, he allowed just 9 earned runs. He's endured his 4 most difficult starts in a row. He's going to get a bit of a break with this All-Star game. He's going to start that All-Star game. And the Flying Squirrels have announced that after the All-Star game, he's going to be moved to the back of the rotation, at least to the back spot, and that'll actually move him into the 1 starter's role, but give him an extra 4 days. Might that right what ails Chris Heston right now?
Can't hurt. Like I said, the manager believes it's a little bit of a tired arm, and you also got to wonder if at this time of the season hitters have sort of caught on to his pattern maybe and maybe understand that sinker is his go-to pitch. Maybe you're laying off a little bit more, fewer ground balls. We'll see. I think he'll be fine. There is no indication over the last year or so that he struggles in the second half of the season.
Little bit of worry right now about Chris Heston and his last handful of starts, and again, he'll move to the back of the rotation when the Squirrels get going again on the road in Harrisburg. There was some worry over the first month and a half of the season, quite frankly, about Giants' top prospect Gary Brown, as he was struggling, hitting just over 220 over the first 6 weeks of the season. Starting to look like we may have been premature on the panic button with Gary. He is surging into the All-Star break. 26-game on-base streak. He has hit safely in 21 of 22. He's hitting 400 over the last month. What's been the difference?
Did you see it coming?
I didn't see it coming that quickly.
I didn't see it coming. It seemed like all through the first half of the season he was getting jammed. Everything was inside. He was having difficulty handling that pitch, and they were just pounding him inside, and he really struggled. What was he, 236 on June 15th. I thought that's where he'd stay. I saw no reason to believe he was going to come out of this. But obviously something clicked. I know he's done a lot of work with Ken Joyce, the hitting coach, and something mentally got him right. I'm not sure what it was, but he has been on fire since mid-June. I don't know if I've ever seen a Squirrel surge like this so quickly, so impressively. And because of his speed, he makes things happen once he reaches the bases.
You know when that surge started, actually? Not coincidentally. It started the day that he appeared with us here on Flying Squirrels Insider. You think I'm joking, but I'm not. Well, I actually came in here, and I got him right. No, you're right. He made some big adjustments with Ken Joyce in the batting cage, and he has been on a tear, as the Squirrels have been going into the All-Star break. They win 7 of 9 games, John, including taking a series from first place Akron. Then they sweep second place Reading out of the Eastern Division going into that break. How can the Flying Squirrels continue that success and make a run towards the postseason in the second half like they did last year?
You remember last year, it was about this time, maybe a little earlier, where Chris Dominguez came aboard, Wes Hodges came aboard to really give them some fortification in the middle of that lineup. And I think about Mark Minikazi and Russ Mitchell, 2 veteran guys who joined the team in June and really, really have given them some stability and some punch in the middle of the lineup, which they needed badly. If you're going to lean on Daniel Maiora, your third baseman without a lot of power in the middle of your lineup, and you're going to lean on Tommy Joseph, a 20-year-old kid in the middle of your lineup, you're going to struggle some. And Richmond did. They were last in the league in runs for a couple of months now. But with Minikazi, a guy who's 29 years old and has been around pro ball for a long time, Russ Mitchell, a guy who's been in the big leagues each of the last 2 years, you've really got some stability in there that can help you drive in runs, and I think those 2 guys have been the key and will be the key, along with Gary Brown and Tommy Joseph, through the rest of the season.
Those 2 guys, you mentioned Mark Minikazi, Russ Mitchell, have tried to knock the left field wall down. Mother Nature pulled it off a couple of weeks ago, and yet they continue to come, John. And one race that the Flying Squirrels are not trailing in at the unofficial midway point of the season, the attendance race. Their numbers actually in year 3, which people were skeptical about, not inside the office but out, are actually outpacing the inaugural season and last year when they were second. To what do you attribute that?
Off-season work. I think your minor league attendance is driven by your group sales to a large extent, and I think the Squirrels do a great job. September, October, November, December, getting into schools, getting into different clubs around town, businesses, other organizations, selling what they have and making sure that on a daily basis there's going to be people in the stands because those tickets are already sold before the season starts. I think they do a great job with that. There's only been a handful of games that I can remember this year, or really any year, where the lower bowl wasn't pretty full. Now, the upper deck changes day to day depending on the weather, depending on the day of the week, stuff like that. But I think the Squirrels have done a great job to get the basic 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 in there every night.
I know I've been doing my job in the clubs in the off-season, and that's what I attribute it to, as well as the Flying Squirrels lead that attendance race at the end of the unofficial first half. We're not even close to the halfway point of Flying Squirrels Insider. And again, text FSI to 44544, and you can be going home with some Flying Squirrels stuff during this 2012 season. When we come back, we are joined by Flying Squirrels bullpen captain Daryl Madej. He takes us on a guided tour of the Flying Squirrels bullpen during an actual game at the Diamond. What are those wacky relievers up to down there in the right field corner? We find out next as Flying Squirrels Insider continues.
Production funding for Flying Squirrels Insider is made possible in part by Virginia College Savings Plan. Save for tomorrow's higher education expenses with Virginia 529's 4 flexible tax-advantaged college savings plans. Details at virginia529.com. And by the Greater Richmond Chamber Save Low Fares campaign. Richmond is in danger of becoming one of America's most expensive airports again. Flying AirTran, Southwest, and JetBlue supports airline competition. Details at savelowfares.com. And by Haley Buick GMC, located at 9811 Midlothian Turnpike, offering new and pre-owned vehicles, financing options, service, parts, and accessories. HaleyBuickGMC.com, taking it to the streets.
Welcome back to Flying Squirrels Insider. We're back here at the Diamond as we're about to go inside what actually happens in the bullpen for the Flying Squirrels relief pitchers during the game. And to do that, we're joined by Flying Squirrels bullpen captain Daryl Madej. And first of all, Daryl, thanks for being here with us. Really appreciate it.
Oh, anytime, John. It's my pleasure.
A lot of people think they know what goes on in the bullpen, but what are you guys actually doing during the course of the game?
It's pretty laid back. We're focusing on every pitch, every inning, being ready to go in there at any moment's notice, really.
Well, Daryl, tell us a little bit about some of the guys you got out in the bullpen this year.
We have a really unique group of guys down in the pen this year. You know, guys like Vasella who really watch the game, and he's always writing something down in his little black book. You know, I think it's whether he's keeping score or whatever the hitter's doing. I'm not really sure what he's doing. Edwin, on the other hand, he's kind of the opposite of Vasella. He's got a lot of energy, kind of infectious to the rest of the guys. He likes to keep it loose, light, which really helps throughout the course of the ball game because sometimes you get pretty tense down there in a tight match. He's a returner here, so it's a really important factor to have down there. Ari Ronick, it's real quiet. Probably one of the quieter ones in the bullpen. But it's kind of good. It mixes things up. He has a lot of nonverbal communication skills. And on the flip side of that, Jake Dunning, who is a master talker, give that guy a monster and he'll talk all the way through 15 innings if need be. He just has a certain way of saying things, almost like a poet. The words just come out of his mouth.
Well, it's always said that the most unique character in the bullpen is generally the closer. Is that true with you guys too?
Of course. Bochy, he's a special kind of pitcher. Most closers, they're completely checked out until the 8th or 9th inning when it's their time to come in and pitch. But Brett's the exception. He just makes it look so easy. And then you got Austin Fleet, who is a little bit of a lone wolf. He's a great guy, but he just keeps to himself, and he isn't really involved as the rest of the relievers. He just sits over by himself, intently watching the game until his job is to go out and pitch. And once he gets called, he starts moving around, getting ready. But we think he watches the game, but we're not really sure. At least that's what he says he does.
Definitely a different group of characters, but Daryl, I'm fairly sure that you guys are a tight-knit group, and once you're in the gang, you're really in for life.
You really are. It's that close of a bond. unless you make the mistake like Chris Glore did and became part of the starting rotation.
Come on, guys, let me out of this place. I swear I didn't want to start. They made me. I think I'm allergic to them. I'm kind of itchy.
So there you have it, an in-depth look at what actually happens in the bullpen during the Flying Squirrels games here at the Diamond, and we have Daryl Madej to thank for that. Daryl, thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Anything you would like to add to this story?
Well, I think there's a big misconception when it comes to the bullpen. You know, everybody thinks we party hard, we're a bunch of misfits, but, you know, we really train hard. We really focus in every pitch of every moment of every game, you know, like it's our last game ever. So I think people need to understand that we take our job serious, and, you know, we come out here every day to try and do our best.
Well, I'm glad we've cleared up that misconception. That's what we do here on Flying Squirrels Insider.
All right, Parker, we're breaking out of here. Come on, Parker, come on, come on. All right, it's every man for himself. See ya.
Flying Squirrels Insider continues, and oh, those wacky relievers. I don't know if we'll ever be quite the same after now knowing what goes on down in the bullpen at the Diamond. But our thanks, another Tom Vasello production. He's become a big part of this Flying Squirrels Insider experience. Joined now by another guy who's a big part of this Flying Squirrels Insider experience and doesn't get the credit for it sometimes, the producer, Craig Keaton. And Craig, we wanted to pull you out from behind the camera today. We just saw Sarah in that shot giving us the cue that we were good to go. There are any number of people working on this show. People don't see that. How intricate is that? How big is this crew?
We have a great staff here. There's only about 5 people working on it, but everybody does multiple jobs. I'm supposed to be directing this segment right now, but because you've pulled me from behind the curtain, we've got Bryant, who edits all the shows together, sitting at the director's desk right now. He's did graphics. Mike Rogers, who's our studio manager, he's doing audio today. And then we've got Mark Helfer on camera, Carol Smith on camera, and Sarah Alderson, who you saw in the shot, also on camera. They do a good job.
Well, just to give people an idea, let's go back to the segment that they just watched, which we called The Relievers. It was actually written by Flying Squirrels left-hander Tom Vasello, who was also part of a segment a couple of episodes back, Tom Vasello's Pitchers Camp.
Right.
He wrote that, he rewrote that, he got it to me, we got with Channel 8. We actually shot for an hour and a half over at the Diamond. Bryant is going to have to splice that together. How many stages go into something like that, and how much more is there to that than people see, and what's going to wind up being about a 6-minute piece?
Well, you know, you guys have done a great job of preparing everything. That day that we shot that segment in the other room was incredible, and Tom Vasello was hysterical. He was funny as he could be. But he put that together, and we just had to edit it. I mean, it was fun. It was fun for us. We enjoy doing the show. It's a little bit out of our bailiwick to do this program. But it's been a fun experience for us, but it took him a few hours to put it together.
We have a lot of fun doing this show. We like to kid each other. I know the staff likes to give me a hard time in between takes. When Anthony's here, we all pick on him collectively, and he doesn't take it all that well. But going back to the beginning, Gwen Brown actually approached me from Community Idea Stations and wanted to form a partnership with the Flying Squirrels, and we jumped on board immediately. To you guys, why is this such a great fit?
Because the Flying Squirrels are such a big part of the community, and we, as the Community Idea Stations, love to partner with other members who are involved so heavily in the community, and it just works really well for us, I think, even though it's not what we normally do.
We did that Tommy Joseph segment all the way back in episode 2, I think it was, during what I'm calling the 2012 season of Flying Squirrels Insider, which nicely corresponds with the 2012 season of Flying Squirrels Baseball. The guys saw that in the clubhouse, and they started coming to me with ideas and scripts.
Did.
Have you been surprised at all how willing sometimes crusty ball players have been to be a part of this?
No, not at all, because my son was a ball player for many years, and they can be quite the cut-ups, and they've come up with some great stuff. In fact, they've come up with so much stuff, you've had to pare back on some of those.
It's competitive. It's competitive now. I've had to eliminate a few, and in fact, we only have a couple of more episodes left. Real quickly, as we're running out of time, give me a preview. We're going to actually bring all of this out to the Diamond, and we're going to have a grand soiree, so to speak, at the end of the season. Flying Squirrels Insider live.
On top of the dugout, on top of the home team dugout, with the graphics in the background on the big screen. It'd be a lot of fun, I think.
That's going to be cool. This was a lot of fun again this week with Tom Vasella's relievers and having you step out, Craig, and having you introduce all these other fine folks that help make us go. Thanks for being here.
I just want to thank the staff for not laughing out loud while I'm sitting in this chair. Thank you, everybody.
There were some muffled giggles, but we'll let that go. Along with Anthony Opperman vacationing this episode, he returns. My thanks to John O'Connor, who did an able job filling in for him on this installment. And also a big thanks to Tom Vasella and his bullpen running mates, including Daryl Madej. For them, Craig, and all the rest here at Flying Squirrels Insider. We'll see you next time.
Production funding for Flying Squirrels Insider is made possible in part by Virginia College Savings Plan. Save for tomorrow's higher education expenses with Virginia 529's 4 flexible tax-advantaged college savings plans. Details at virginia529.com. And by the Greater Richmond Chamber Save Low Fares campaign. Richmond is in danger of becoming one of America's most expensive airports again. Flying AirTran, Southwest, and JetBlue supports airline competition. Details at savelowfares.com. And by Haley Buick GMC, located at 9811 Midlothian Turnpike, offering new and pre-owned vehicles, financing options, service, parts, and accessories. HaleyBuickGMC.com, taking it to the streets.